5, 4, 3, 2, here we go. Hi there. Welcome to my home at Ravenna Park in Seattle, and today is
December 15th, 2024.
there you go. Now we remember the date. Welcome to my home. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Zabina. I'm Carissa. I am currently nomadic between Seattle and New Orleans. I originally grew up about 40 minutes from here in Seattle and chose to study chemical engineering in New Orleans once I turned 18. And I currently work as an engineering consultant for a sustainability firm.
See that really clear. For what?
For a sustainability firm.
Very good. Because I want to make sure it's so visionary. Thank you.
And I was asked to reflect on what I got out of meeting you today. And
At the Unity Museum, yes.
At the Unity Museum, and I was asked, what now? Let's see. I left my house today looking for this health store in Capitol Hill because I wanted to refill my Dr. Bronner soap. I didn't want to buy something new and perpetuate this single-use plastic chain, so I took my existing plastic bottle and refilled it with soap. And I stopped by the Volunteer Park Conservancy because I wanted to I really liked a bucket hat that I saw there during the summer because I wanted to use it as a prototype for my future bucket hats. I made this, and
Adorable, by the way.
Thank you. And then I was like, okay, I'll just go back home to Wallingford. And I was walking to the bus stop and my phone was at 5%, and I was like, okay, let me just ground myself in where I am. If my phone dies, I'm gonna know how to get back. And I saw I think it was the 48 bus. It just passed me, and I was like, let me walk from Capitol Hill to U District and just catch the 44 back there. And so I walked to the U District station, and I saw a sandwich board talking about the Unity Museum. Open hours, Sunday, 11 to 2:30 p.m. I checked the time. It was 1 o'clock. I checked the address.
1 o'clock, so we know the day and the time.
Yeah. And I looked at the address, and it's right on the Ave. It is a 5-minute walk from where I am. I didn't have a plan for the day. I kind of was treating today as, okay, let's pretend my life is a video game. I'm just going to encounter whatever I encounter, and whoever I find on the way, they're either a story building character or an NPC. And we love both because I have something to learn. And on the Ave, before I reached the Unity Museum, a houseless woman was selling her art. And I immediately was like, hey, it's Christmas time. I really like this art. I'm gonna get a new place in New Orleans in the new year. I want something to remember this special day that I've had. And I struck up a conversation with this woman, and actually, her name's Kitty. I bought one of her art pieces, and we talked about how she actually was talking about the singularity in a way, how all the religions, they share the same fundamental belief. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. That we should all care for one another, basically. Yeah. And because I had asked if she celebrates Christmas, and she was like, well, I want to be inclusive. Like, like the root of Christmas is, it's a shared root with the other religions. Like, we all think the same things at the end of the day. And yeah, I bought some art and walked away and went up the stairs to the Unity Museum. I accidentally went to the shoe store, which was like right next to you guys.
And the t-shirt place, yeah.
Yeah, because the door was closed.
Yeah.
There was a sign, and I like walked into the shoe store, and I was like, is this the museum? They were like, oh, I think it's next door. There's a sign hanging on the wreath. And I was like, okay, let's open the door. And there was Zabina and Cameron. And immediately, I just, within, yeah, like you said, within 2 minutes, you're just talking about how over like 100 wars are going on right now. And that's all I've been able to think about for over a year now. I mean, in high school debate, I researched and debated the 2-state versus 1-state solution. And I know this has been going on for way before my time. And nowadays, with our cell phones, we see live stream genocide and just a ruthless destruction of environment and exploitation of people, all for profit. And as a chemical engineer who has worked extensively with the oil and gas industry and being in this space for a while, I understand, like, people have a job, and that is to make profit. And the reason why I chose chemical engineering was in the first place was I saw during high school the trash cans would fill up every day with single-use plastic. And I was like, okay, what field can I choose that will allow me to research compostable, like bio-derived material to replace this plastic, because plastic is
deadly.
We just keep producing it, and the corporations that make it, they, as soon as they make it, they're like, I'm not in charge of this anymore. It gets released into the environment, it gets sold to the next person in the pipeline, and when they should be responsible for the entire life cycle of the product. And we have these massive corporations which are profit driven, encouraging this hyper consumerism, which the everyday person is feeding into. They get absorbed by what's trendy or what celebrity is promoting what product, and without meditating on the materialism. And like, why do I need this? What is this serving in my life? Where did this come from? Who produced it? What were the ethics involved? Was this ethically produced? Like, where did the materials come from? What will happen when it breaks and I throw it away? These questions are not pondered at all. I mean, just the whole concept of waste. We throw things away and they go to the landfill, but the landfill is a far off place.
And the oceans.
And we are so out of touch with those places. It's just out of sight, out of mind. And on a mass scale, over decades, we have a huge plastic pollution problem. And
so you walked up the stairs.
Yeah, I'm going all over the place. walked up the stairs and I saw this museum, and just seeing that this documentation is happening and a space exists for people of all walks of life to view history and to see, like, oh, everything that we're experiencing today, it makes sense considering everything that has happened up until now. And so that brings me to the question of what now? And
what was your impression on what was your impression when you had not only the exhibits on genocide and exhibits on science and so on? Were you expecting a meditation room in a museum?
no, I didn't have any expectations walking in.
Were you surprised when you saw a meditation room in there?
No, I was just like, oh, that's really cool.
That's really cool, right? Okay, good.
Yeah. I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, of course, I'm very science-minded. Like, I believe in research and the scientific method. And I also believe in ancestral indigenous knowledge that has been passed down through generations and through lineage and through channels that science can't understand.
That's right. That's where meditation spirituality comes in, doesn't it? That's why it needs to be both to be remembered, because science without religion doesn't make any sense.
And we're so divided, and the ruling class purposefully has us divided, because what's more threatening than organized masses who are united in their purpose and in their power? And my takeaway from this day that I've had is, oh, perhaps it doesn't need to be violent. Perhaps it doesn't have to result in nuclear warfare and devastation. Maybe we do have enough time. And especially given my position in my career, where I have access to a very powerful network of working professionals who, I mean, we are all there because we believe in sustainability and we believe in delivering solutions to the big players on the global scale. I believe that we can, with our creativity and approaching things with a holistic view, we can sell these ideas that eventually will get everybody's needs met and appeal to their sense of, and by them I mean the billionaire class. Like, what mark do you want to leave on history?
What positive mark? How all the money you have, what can you leave behind for humanity that serves healing?
Because when you die, and everybody's gonna die, your money's not coming with you. Like, you have the choice to do something that will permanently etch your legacy into the historical record. And so
you learned a little bit about our project in Africa, right? And what was your first impression on that idea?
I love it. Like, for a while now, I've become very disillusioned with the concept of commodifying, like, basic survival needs and human rights. And by that I mean the commodification of food, clean water, housing, healthcare. All of these things, which everyone is entitled to regardless of their ability to pay, has been weaponized by industry and sold to us at a premium just so we can line the pockets of a few.
So the idea of bartering that really sort of addressed
Mm-hmm.
materialism for global sustainability. If we do our share in giving a service,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get sustainability in your life, whether it's we have a hospital there or an academy there or growing vegetables, and yet playtime for the youth, and yet a house of devotions without preaching, teaching, or proselytizing. So in a way, do you think that a model that is non-materialistic but that deals with sustainability, where everybody can play their part, do you think it's a good idea?
Absolutely.
Right?
I think that if everyone's basic needs are met, then we unlock so many minds to contribute solutions to the problems that we face.
And I think the other thing I like to sort of bring to mind with you, that the mayor there is a Sunni.
Mm.
I'm a Baha'i, and I talked to you a little bit about the Baha'i faith, right? And it's a global greater peace solutions. And yet some of our helpers there are Catholic nuns.
Mm.
So in a way, aren't we trying to use everybody's spirituality can come together when it comes down to being each other's neighbors and caring for each other. And because nobody gets paid anything, that addresses the idea of materialism, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have a model for that. And so I know that you and I we're meant to meet today. I mean, I feel that way. I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you are in New Orleans, or and here we are in Seattle, and I know you'll come back because I look forward to that. But I feel that we have to look at it, and I know you took a lot of notes tonight after you visited the museum, you decided we just weren't done. So you came down and we spent the last 2 or 3 hours just talking, right? And just sharing where we're at and what are potential solutions. And yet, as the like-minded grassroots, where do we go with this, right? And and some are very scientific solutions. Often they're just like health issues, diet issues, and how do we find food, and I think it's really a broad spectrum of solutions that everybody, if we can find a million like-minded people just like you and I in the grassroots, you just know we've got something going. And it's going to be not about the difference of, wages. It's not going to be the difference of religious beliefs. It's not going to be the difference of hierarchy, meaning I come from European royalty or I'm from a tribal chief community that is very. So it's just common us. It's all of us just coming together with an idea, because I mentioned we went from League of Nations to United Nations, but we clicked our red heels walking on that yellow brick road towards a World Federation that needs to deal with genocide and that needs to deal with food, health care for everybody. So universal health care is an idea. We all know how to do it. We've just got to come to grips with that. We all need it equally.
Absolutely. And yeah, as an engineer, I'm very solutions oriented. I've been struggling a lot finding space for all the grief and the various emotions that come with accepting the reality we live in. But I want to turn all of that pain and that sadness into action. And so I think the first thing is mapping out the community that I've built over the 25 years that I've been alive. I have I have a very strong network of friends and colleagues, people who I respect and they respect me. They all have valuable skills, and with the correct language that appeals to a universal idea, with the right idea, all these people will be on board in building this global community. And we are going to work towards the intersection of engineering and technology, food, sovereignty, music, art, and history, and
looking at our youth and our children to give them an early infrastructure where they can combine this global idea and where they can have a common mission.
Absolutely. I really admire the intelligence that is the mycelial life form, the fungi. I believe that is a life form that is extremely intelligent, but we don't have a way to communicate with them.
Our consciousness is still struggling with that.
Yeah. But the mycelium, they create networks under forest floors. They are the root system. Mm-hmm. They allow entire ecosystems to communicate with one another. They, depending on which type of mycelium it is, because different species have different motives, mm-hmm. and they have different tendencies.
Survival motives.
Absolutely. Depending on which species it is, certain species will reallocate nutrients from areas of surplus to areas of deficiency, and in a sense optimize the forest and the ecosystem for life. And I believe that you and I are part of we're like-minded, and we are, that mycelium network exists, and we just have to map out those connections and personally connect with each and every member of our community and empower them to forge those connections with everyone that they've ever connected with.
Absolutely.
And we each will identify the role that we're passionate about, and that feeds into this overarching goal, which is peace. Let's end the wars, end the genocide, end the control. Let's empower all humans. Let's educate the children. Let's educate the women. Let's give everyone the tools for survival. And even right now, my mother and I, we sit at opposite ends of the political spectrum, but I truly believe that the divisiveness of political ideologically, it is just a diversion from, like, we sit on opposite ends of the political spectrum, but we share the same fundamental beliefs.
That's right. Hope for peace.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And all of the divisive, like, social talking points, those are put in place by the ruling class, so everyone doesn't address the root issue, and that's class inequality. And that's where we start. We build the community, and we use the tools that we have at our disposal. We are at an incredible point in time where we have social media. Like decades ago, I would have not been able to just look up a childhood acquaintance on the internet and be able to send them a message and reconnect.
Now it's nothing.
Now I have the ability to connect with everyone who has ever
Every citizen
touched
on
my
earth.
life.
Imagine. It's unbelievable.
And we shouldn't act alone.
No.
The lone wolf like activism is like sensationalized and it's attractive and it's romanticized, but we're
a herd. We're a herd animal, really. We're a herd species where we support each other, and we need each other, where we can even pray together without getting hung up on dogma, right?
Absolutely.
Just a sense of meditation and bring about this oneness with a vision towards a united world. It's just that simple.
And we need to work towards the demilitarization of everything.
Yeah. That's the last of the hurdles. That's going to be hard.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I really do believe that the next 2-3 generations, through whether it is through catastrophe or it is through a wake-up call, let's just call it a wake-up call, where we say no more, no war, no more. This is we can't leave behind a legacy that is really eliminating the human race. We just can't do that. And I feel, especially as a Baha'i, I feel the earth is and will be just one country, and all of us will live in harmony. And that era of that greater peace where we're leaving behind the isms, nationalism, and all those isms, that we will be looking at a universal approach towards borders, towards unification into a world federation, towards systems of healing, education, housing, food. The biggest alarm right now they're building is really people are becoming very lonely, and mental health issues due to depression and due to feeling separated from those that we want to have much in common with. And because I call that right now, it's almost an emotional pandemic. But meditation and prayers can walk you through that. And if you have a meditative vision that is working towards global unity, I mean, there you go, right? But cannot be my way or the highway. It has to be our way in a united way. And that is a difference there, right? If it be that easy, my way or the highway, if you all become this and we'll all live happy ever together, and that has never proven to be a lasting system. So I feel that, I just feel so connected to you. And when you walked in, it was just like a breath of fresh air in my life. We meet people at the museum, but then every so often a diamond walks in, where you just immediately have this sense of, it's not me, it's not I, it is we. And we must follow our heart and our soul, because the more of us in our sphere of influence through networking of like-mindedness, not only in our neighborhood, in our city, in our country, in our continent. I mean, we're walking that path. And today, as you said, with Zoom and God knows what we're going to be looking at, virtual reality and maybe chip implant, who knows where we're going, right? That we really will truly be in each other's lives at a level and degree of passion that we clearly see ourselves as the solution. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Much better than the cynicism that sometimes claims me.
Yeah.
I go through
Well, as a
depression.
scientist, it is very hard to not be drawn into science as we know it today. Science as we know it tomorrow might suddenly bring on solutions
Yeah.
that are suddenly like a domino, go click, 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 click,
Yeah.
and it starts to fall. So sometimes I feel that global solutions can come about very rapidly.
Yeah.
And in fact, in such a rapid clip, just like the pandemic went around the world, it's such a rapid clip that we realize, and this is humanity on one blue marble, and we have to get our act together, and we know what we want, and we know what we don't want, and that's called nuclear buttons.
Yeah.
And we don't want starvation, and we don't want religious division. So we know what we want. We just have to bring it on. We're kind of spiritual and scientific revolutionaries that believes in the future of mankind. You like that?
Yeah. Literally, I was like sitting on the bus the past couple days, and I've just been like seized with this. Uh, like this thought has just come to me. Like I feel like my calling in life is to usher in this mass global movement of
Yes.
caring for one another. How how do we appeal to everyone's sense of humanity and turn that into actionable steps?
And this is something over the next few years, whilst I'm still alive, that you and I will regularly communicate, whether you're in, New Orleans or back up in Seattle. But I think it's going to be our life's mission that we specifically look at the feasible lines of action
Mm-hmm.
from a perspective that produces results.
Yeah.
Not spinning wheels in kumbaya, right? We don't like that. But what we do like is serious consideration, contemplation, consultation, and looking for the path of least resistance towards the unity of that, right?
Yeah.
We get that, don't we? I know, it's so cool.
Absolutely. In fact, that topic or the idea of the path of least resistance, that guided me to finding the Unity Museum because I was just letting that idea guide my walking path. And then I saw your sandwich board, and here we are.
Sitting in each other's living room.
And I've just been like projecting out to the universe, like, please, I need an outlet for all of these ideas and these passions of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm currently not finding it just on my phone.
Yeah.
And with my existing social networks, I need to go out and find it.
You want to find a home.
Yeah. A home that in which we can make things happen.
You know what we call them? Become part of the Unity family.
Yeah.
And I'm embracing you into our Unity family. And look at even the visitors today, how diverse they were, right?
Yeah.
So different, it's our black friend and our, I don't know who we are. But we all were so different. But boy, we had everything in common, didn't we? And I think it's because of the word Unity Museum, people think, oh, wow, is that me too?
It's a good word.
It's a word that I like to think will touches our souls, our hearts, our vision, our passion, our meditative progress that brings us closer to solutions that I think ultimately are probably much simpler than we think they are. I think we are making things too complicated. But the good news is we're having the tools where we can now globally say, okay, like-minded unity family, wherever you live, let's start marching. Let's go into a neighborhood, help our youth, help our children, help our seniors, help the families, help our single people to find their way, how collaborative we all have something different to offer.
Uh-huh.
You like that?
Absolutely. And I want to talk about how we can bring the Unity Museum to New Orleans.
Oh my God, now don't make me cry.
I would love for you to meet my friend Madeira.
Yeah.
She is so creative. She's a paper artist. She
Oh my
has
gosh.
a community that spans Colorado to Nigeria, and she throws
Nigeria, Africa. Oh,
Mhm.
oh, honey, say no more. We're on it, aren't we?
Yes, I think y'all would just hit it off. I mean, we're all like on the same page. She is running something called the Recycle Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And
Climate and sustainability.
And art and education.
Oh, perfect.
And she's already building community in New Orleans, and I'm a member of the art collective down there. And
amazing.
we have physical space. We have what used to be a school in the lower ninth
you
floor.
have a physical space.
We do.
Well, we shall ponder, right?
Yes. And
we shall ponder according to the vision that balances with the mission.
Yes. And we reconnected because I worked for her a couple of years ago, helping put on the annual parade and festival, the Recycle Challenge Parade and Festival. New Orleans is a cultural hub with music and art and parades, and that is something that brings the people together.
My late husband was brought up in New Orleans. Trust me, his mother was an appellate court judge in Chicago, so eventually he had to go back to Chicago, but he loved New Orleans.
And what a special place! Like everybody comes together during carnival season.
Yes.
And while there are traditions that are wasteful, and I'm talking about the plastic beads manufactured from China.
Oh yeah, that's so right.
Leach lead into
we just have to
water.
Work on it. You know, the solutions are out there. We just have to work on it.
And because the people are already like united in the celebration of carnival season.
Yes.
And with the music and the community. Yes. We can be like, hey, we don't have to give that up. We just have to give up the bad parts.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a salad bar. We don't all have to, pick up cherries. I mean, there's a lot of other options there. And I think our choices of change is climate, gender, it is race, it is even addressing common ground and spirituality. There's so many venues that every one of them has so many lines of deep actions attached to it that I feel ultimately we all end up in the, when you have a spring bouquet, all the flowers at the top, but when you give it to someone, you bundle it at the end, right? So I think we are preparing the bundle for unity.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So if you want to, we can bring it to a closing statement if you like. And I know I shared it with you that maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, long after I'm gone, you can look at it and say, look how far we've come from the day that we met today, and look at the community that we developed, and look at the technology that helped to spread the message. Even if it's a Unity Museum in New Orleans, you have no idea where it goes from there to yonder. Because we're already in Africa, in Cameroon, we're already in Rwanda, maybe potentially in Nigeria, we don't know.
Oh, it's possible?
Yeah, it's all possible. We just opened one in Sydney, Australia. And so we are marching through the continents as we speak. And And maybe eventually we'll have one in every continent, eventually one in every country, eventually one in every city, and ultimately in every neighborhood. So if you dream, you might just as well dream big, because just like the dream in Cameroon, it was never ever on my wildest radar or in my wildest dream that anything like that was an option, possible, or could even come a reality. So look at that as an example, what is possible when through as our connection was human rights consultant and cows don't give milk. I mean, what's with that? So it's just like you and I, right? And here you were strolling through, you see the word unity, and you say, wow, maybe that's me too.
Anything is possible. And as long as we are alive and we have our healthy bodies and our minds, there are so many things that we can do with those to usher in a society that we plan, that is human centric, not car centric, not industry centric. And with the work that has been done already in Cameroon and Rwanda,
The test pilot programs,
we love a proof of concept.
Yeah.
And well, that's the prototype.
Yeah.
And then once it's proven, which it has been, all there is left is to deploy it.
That's right.
On a mass scale.
Yeah. And the Mayor Sani there is absolutely convinced that he wants to be that pioneer for this village concept based on bartering in common survival, and that every village deserves it. So we can do this.
I mean, I'm already bartering with my friends.
All right.
In the community in New Orleans.
You know, we need to. Bartering is the way to go, because in the future, robots will replace a lot of jobs. So we need to have a system that sustains human dignity and survival and progressing into the future of the well-being of all of mankind.
Absolutely.
We're doing it.
And I love that framework, how bartering is a system that preserves human dignity.
It does. It is, I feel, to me, and when the mayor asked me, but will you charge people for hospital and academy and everything, and the golf course there, and the agricultural vegetable garden, the homegrown store, will you charge people? And I said, not a dime and a penny. It's all about bartering. And it's exempt if you're too young, too old, or too sick. So we're on the roll.
I love that.
Cool. One day you'll have to go and visit our Cameroon project.
I love that.
Yeah, let's think about that. So, well, I'm gonna thank you ever so much. We've known each other for how many hours now?
What time is it now?
It's now 8:30, 8:40, okay. And we met at 1 o'clock.
It's been like 7 hours.
7 hours of nothing but togetherness, hasn't it? I mean, we really went through right to the core of who we were pretty quick. But I think we had a sense for it pretty quick. And I call the rest is just history. So I want to welcome you to our world. And thank you for allowing us to remember today. And I will send you a copy of that. So once I'm gone, you can look back at this. Okay.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.